Are you a C2 level English speaker and you're looking to improve your speaking fluency, the patterns, your timing, your intonation, everything? Well, this is the second lesson for you. I hope you saw the first one, but if not, it's there. I promise you, just look for it. Today, we're going to continue working on building our timing. Looking at our tones, we're going to identify a neutral tone today. Before we had up tones and down tones. Today, we're going to have neutral tones. And we're also going to continue developing your timing. How do you break what you say for the most impact? Like what I just did. How do you break what you say for the most impact? That is a key thing that we're going to learn today. So I have a new story for you. We didn't finish the last one because it's not important. What's important is seeing how to break these things and develop the pattern. Let's take a look at my computer and see our story for today. Now it says Dalton versus the bully. Now, Dalton, stick your tongue out. Don't be shy. It's just you and me, and I'm okay with it. Dalton and the bully. Cool. I have my water because I'm talking a lot. Let's take a look at this story. Since we haven't read it, we need to decide, is this a positive or a negative thing? Okay? When you speak, it's much easier because you already know what you're going to say is good or bad or just fact. Okay? So let's take a look at this. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes the other boys made fun of him because he was so tall and skinny. Ooh, that's sad. Skinny. I don't like him already. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. Oh, another negative. He was a bully who boasted. Okay, so this is kind of a problem, right? Our main character, Dalton, has a problem. So is this going to be happy? Dalton was a nice boy, but he had a bully. Sounds terrible, right? We have to match what we read. So in the last one, we had lots of uptones for the whole sentence. But if we see this first insanely long sentence, some parts are good and some parts are bad. So we can have uptones and down in the same sentence. It's okay. Let's take a look at this first one here. I'm going to get my marker or pen or whatever. We have a comma. Always look for the punctuation. That's a pause point. That's where we're naturally going to break whatever we're going to say from one piece to the next. So that's our first thing we found, a comma. So let's look at this. Dalton was a nice boy. Dalton was a nice boy. We can say that all together, or we can break it. Dalton was a nice boy, and create our own timing. Dalton was a nice boy, was a nice boy. Dalton, see how they take the same amount of time? That's how I want to break this. Dalton was a nice boy, was. Change this S to a Z, was a nice boy. Dalton was a nice boy. Nice little blend right there. Now let's take a look at this. We have the word but, and we have the word because. Normally, when we have a choice or a but, we would pause. We would say, I am going to take you with me, but my mom says I can't. See, I was doing this, but a negative, right? We emphasize the but because it's a big turnaround. Everyone go, oh, stop, but stop. See? So we have to change all of this stuff. We put emphasis on the but. Now, if we look at that, we can't really do that here because we have but, and then we would have because. So we have to choose to blend one of them. Don't blend because. Sounds gross. It sounds tacky. It sounds terrible. We're going to blend but with this part right here. So let's look at this. We know we're going to break it here before because. Made fun of him is something that the kids did. So we've got to jam all of this into that space. But sometimes the other boys, did you see that? It naturally breaks. We can do that. Oh, and that's what I want you to do. Sometimes we see things look like they would be okay, but they're actually not. But sometimes the other boys. but sometimes the other boys. It sounds like I'm rushing. We created our timing for the first part. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes the other boys, it was way too fast, right? But sometimes that matched our timing. Timing is more important than how fast you can deliver what you say. Create your timing and stick to it. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes the other boys made fun of him. Sounds really good, right? Goes together, very nice. Why? Why would they do that? Because is going to stretch for that time. Dalton, because. Same thing. Because why? He was so tall and skinny. I don't like him. I'm not skinny. Anyways, he was so tall and skinny. We have another conjunction. Look at this sentence. We're going to break it here. He was so tall and skinny. We're going to break it right there. So let's read this whole insanely long sentence. Dalton was a nice boy. Nope, did it wrong. Don't rush it. Stick to your timing. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes the other boys made fun of him because he was so tall and skinny. Now, I put some emphasis on some of these words. I put emphasis on tall, skinny, made fun of him, We have a vowel right here, uptones on that, right? They made fun of him. Dalton was a nice. The vowels, the short vowels, are always kind of up in tone. Hey, remember that. We should put a little star in your memory. Okay, so let's look at the next sentence. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. How many times can we break this sentence? Twice. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. You see that? If I say Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch, it takes away some of the power in Mitch being the problem, right? So we say Dalton's biggest problem, what was it? Was Mitch. See how I can slow down that and dun, dun, dun. Make it more suspenseful, more impactful, more meaning. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. I like that. I feel something, right? And you do too. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. Mitch. He was a bully who boasted about his strength. I'm strong too. Okay, let's see how we break this. Dalton was a bully who boasted about his strength. Who boasted about. Can we do that? He was a bully who boasted. Right? It's too many B's. So we have to break it. He was a bully who boasted. There. That makes better feeling. My lips aren't flapping around, right? Why? About his strength. See that? Sometimes the words trip you over. So you don't want to have them there. Break things, slow down, speed up as necessary. He was a bully. Remember, we changed that S to a Z. Was Mitch. Was Mitch, right? He was a bully. We blend was and together. He was a bully. Who boasted. Oh, who boasted. Why? About his strength. Stick that tongue out. Get that nice air on there. We want to have clear speaking for these words to really have the impact that we want. Why did he boast? About his strength. This is definitely a C2 level lesson. I am speaking at a much faster than fluent pace for you guys, which is why I'm so thirsty. Okay. He quarreled with the other boys. Okay. Well, we have a hard word there, so we have to take some consideration for that hard word quarreled. He fought, right? Well, fight means boom, 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 but quarrel means da, 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 and boom, boom, boom. So two things kind of happened. He quarreled with the other boys. He quarreled, how? With the other boys. Remember, we break sentences based on the question they answer. Who? He quarreled, right? How? With the other boys. So he quarreled. He quarreled. We're going to put emphasis on that. He quarreled. We don't want to say he quarreled. That makes it sound like it's not important. He quarreled. Ha! Can you believe it? He quarreled. How? With the other boys. With the other boys. He quarreled with the other boys. He was a bully who boasted about his strength. He quarreled with the other boys. Feels good, right? I can see in my mind what I'm saying. You can see in your mind what I'm saying. So let's keep going with this because I like this. This is fun. Sometimes, there's a comma. Our job is done for us. Sometimes, pause right there, right? If boys gave Mitch their lunch money, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, sometimes if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, I think you can say, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, sometimes if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, okay, we got to break it there. It's just a little bit too long, right? If boys gave Mitch what? Their lunch money, comma, stopping, he would have mercy and leave them alone. Oop, I let go. He would have mercy and leave them alone. Let's try this sentence. Go back to the very beginning. Make sure we have our timing. Dalton was a nice boy. Dalton was a nice boy. Let's go down to the last sentence. Sometimes, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, I still want to say it fast. Why? Dalton was a nice boy. Sometimes, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, we need to make a small pause there, right? So we need to slow down. If boys gave Mitch, so that our break in that timing is smaller. Yeah, we can't say that part as fast, but we can't say it really slow. Sometimes, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, right? We have the comma there. Gave Mitch their lunch money, he would have mercy. He would have. Let's go up here and find my text tool. And we're going to change this. He would have. He would have mercy. He would have mercy. Look how much I took away. Wow, right? I did, and that's okay. He would have mercy. Sounds fine to me, because it's right. So, let me go back here. We're going to shrink this part, he would have mercy, to something more fluent. He would have mercy and leave them alone. So now let's think about this. He would have mercy. 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 This is a neutral thing. He would have mercy. He would have mercy. I don't feel one way or the other. The last part is where the feeling comes in. He would have mercy and leave them alone. Alone. Relief, sadness, that kind of down tone. And leave them alone. There. So we had neutral and then relaxed. He's going to leave them alone. Let's read this whole thing back after I take a sip from my water and see if we can stick to our timing. Are you ready? Blah, blah. Loosen your lips up. It's okay. If you trip over what you say, loosen your mouth. Some people get stiff after a while. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes the other boys made fun of him because he was so tall and skinny. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. He was a bully who boasted about his strength. He quarreled with the other boys. Sometimes, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, he would have mercy and leave them alone. And leave them alone. Sounds pretty good, right? Sounds pretty good. Let's do this next piece, because 15 minutes, I think we can do this. You're all adults. One day, because we have a comma, one day, the boys learned about a special middle school Olympics. Whoosh, this is ugly. Learned about what? A special middle school Olympics. Ooh, that's going to be rough, okay? That's going to be rough. It's a name. You can't break a name. A special middle school Olympics? That sounds funny, right? So we can't break that. A special middle school Olympics. We have to say that really fast. One day, the boys learned about, okay. If we said the boys learned about a special, we run out, we get confused. It's too much to join like that, okay? Even though it's in two separate waves, it's just too much. We want to have some type of balance, some longs and some shorts, okay? One day, the boys learned about a special middle school Olympics. There's nothing we can do. So we have kind of run over on our wave, right? And we're going into that next wave. So what do? We're going to have to kind of blend these two sentences together to make up for running over our wave. Let's see. Their gym class. Their gym class was going to be in it. There. We found where we're going to blend it. Their gym class. That's shorter than Dalton, their gym class. I can take some of this and put it on the special middle school Olympics because I need it. I need to borrow, okay? It's okay in the grand scheme, the overall, if your wave runs into another wave, as long as it doesn't muddy that other wave, okay? Let's try this. One day, the boys learned about a special school. See? It's hard to read and speak. One day, the boys learned, I can do it too. I can do it too. Tip of the tongue. One day, the boys learned about a special middle school Olympics. Their gym class was going to be in it. Now, if we looked at all of that I just said, each of the pieces would match in terms of timing if we put the times over it, but that wave blended into the next sentence. It's okay. One day, the boys learned about a special middle school Olympics their gym class was going to be in. We emphasize that in. We're going to be in it. Be in it. Be in it. Was going to be in it. Didn't draw the line long enough. I stopped it in. Oops. One day the boys, see what I mean? You have to go back and catch that timing, especially if you make a mistake. It's very important to maintain that timing. Otherwise it screws you up. It happens, right? It happens. You have to make the mistakes to see how important timing is. So I'm going to go back and look at that first sentence again. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes. Down to the bottom. One day, the boys learned about a special middle school Olympics. Their gym class was going to be in it. I caught that wave again. I caught my timing. You have to do that sometimes. Remind yourself, what is my timing? Sentence to sentence, idea to idea. We need to stay on time, okay? Let's finish this. Let's finish this. Many kids were excited. That's easy. We can say it. Many kids were excited. Yeah, just jam it together. But, see, we're going to borrow a little bit of that time right there. Many kids were excited. Many kids were just a little bit. We're excited. It's going to borrow from but. Many kids were excited, but Dalton, see, instead of going, but Dalton, we said, but Dalton. Still a little bit more emphasis on but we borrowed some of that time. We can't stretch it now. Many kids were excited, but Dalton, so we're going to break Dalton to get more time. But Dalton thought it sounded like torture. There. Timing's important. Let's read this all right here. Dalton was a nice boy, but sometimes the other boys made fun of him because he was so tall and skinny. Dalton's biggest problem was Mitch. He was a bully who boasted about his strength. He quarreled with the other boys. Sometimes, if boys gave Mitch their lunch money, he would have mercy and leave them alone. One day, the boys learned about a special middle school Olympics their gym class was going to be in. Many kids were excited, but Dalton thought it sounded like torture. Sounded like torture. I like gym. Do you like gym? We're going to stop there because that's 20 minutes. And I don't want you to leave. All right, let me know if that was helpful. I hope it was. I had fun doing it. And I'll see you for the next video as long as the construction people stop. I'm going crazy here. I promise I want to make videos. Bye.